to give you an idea, I knew what I gave away. So at the end of the day, when I 4-bet him with ace queen and he called, and it came king 3-5 and I bet the flop, and he snap folded two tens. You saw that, right?
That was very nice. And then you tabled it like a boss.
Right. He asked me
what stand-up game, wasn't it?
He was so sure I had it, right? Why was he sure I have it? Because I know what I gave away. The hand he called me with fourth pair. You see what I'm trying to say? And
yeah.
So when you're playing with pros, see, that's why I really enjoyed playing that Wednesday, because I knew I was playing with high-level players. And they were all really nice, too. You know, it was a really fun game with good people. Like, there was no scumbags in the game. It's like, remember we were joking around saying we should call it, like, No Scumbag Wednesday, you know? And it was really fun. And, you know, when I got called with fourth pair after not playing a hand for an hour and a half, I knew I was in a high-level poker game. And that I knew I had to put my glasses on and study. I wasn't trying to hide anything. I just had to study everybody. And I got in the zone. I studied everybody. And, you know, it's a shame I lost 14-5. I never had a hand. You saw that, you know. But losing 14-5 in that game is nothing, as big as that game was playing, you know.
Did you cut down the table talk, too, after you put on your shades?
Fuck yeah, I did. Because I fucking knew I had to fucking focus. I knew I was playing high-level poker. When you get called with fourth pair when you've played one hand in an hour and a half, you know you're playing high-level poker. You know what I'm saying? You're not. Don't think a guy like that. Don't think unless he sees something. I mean, I know what I gave away, dude. I could say it on this right now out loud, but I don't want to do it because I want people to see what I gave away, and then I could use that when I have a hand. I could pretend like I'm giving it away. I could do the opposite. When I could just keep mixing it up. But I know what I gave. I'll just say it this way. Go watch that hand and call me next week on the show, and you tell me what I gave away, because it's fucking obvious. I knew exactly what I gave away. As soon as I got called, I knew what I gave away.
On all three streets or just river? Or
I gave it away on the fucking turn and river. And I know exactly what it was. But I want you to look at it because I want you to tell me when you call me back what I gave away. Because I know what I gave away. I knew it right away what I gave away. And I used it against him where he snap folded the tens at the end of the night.
Yeah.
So
now... Well, now let's talk positive. I mean, Monday you're playing. You smashed it on Monday, and I remember this one hand. I think you 3 or 4 bet this dude with ace-9 suited.
Correct.
And he called you with ace-6
Two
off,
people
I
called.
think.
They both flopped an ace. Ace-5.
But you flopped top. Go ahead.
Yeah, I flopped top 2, and I bet like a third pot. I get a call and a jam, and I guess they didn't think I had it, you know. And
Are you still calling that dude beside you? He seemed like he was a maniac. Are you still calling him if you have ace queen there on the ace-9 5 or whatever it was? Are you still calling him with one pair?
I mean, him, yeah. I mean, he thought that, you know, he's, you know, I mean, other people depends, you know, what the situation is. And, you know, that was a really soft game for me. And even like Ryan came down, he's like, man, Mike, he goes, this game was as easy for you as could be. And it was, right? And so now the good thing about it is, yeah, I knew it was a soft game. Like I knew I could just, when I raise under the gun and they 3-bet me, it's just such an easy fold with King Jack, you know, because I know how the game was playing. They're just not coming at me. And, so the game was real soft and I ran real good. And then I had to make the adjustment on Wednesday to a game that was not soft, but it was good. I mean, they were putting chips in the pot. It was just playing really big. I mean, when you get the 100, 200, 400 straddle on it, I didn't know that the game was going to play that big. First of all, I would have sold half of myself, but it doesn't matter. I lost small anyways. But like, I knew that I could lose 100 in that game. I don't want to be in a position where I could ever lose 100 because, you know, I don't need to win 100. I just don't need to lose 100.
Yeah, don't torch off 100 exactly.
Right, and so But once I made the adjustment, like, honestly, when I got called with fourth pair, I thought it was the best thing that could ever happen to me in that game and on all streams, because that's when I knew what I gave away and how I had to adjust and how I had to stop talking and start focusing. Because, again, after I knew what I gave away, when I put my glasses on, all I did is study Shea and fucking Mariano the rest of the day, because I knew. I mean, I got pretty unlucky. Like, the guy in the 9th seat, really nice guy, I forgot his name. Like, Doc's trying to win his third button. He opens for 3,000. He moves in. Snap moves in for 13. And then I move all in. I got ace king. He's got ace 10. He hits a 10 on the first board on the last card.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's 13K right there, right? Then there was the one where I get. On the
other hand, you and a guy.
We both had jacks against ace 9, right? Like, even if we only lose one board, that's another 11,000, right? Let's just say I chop, right? When the guy's 3-1 dog, right? If I chop that hand, and get my money back, right? And that's 24,000. So I lost 14,500, and just those two hands getting scooped with jacks versus ace 9 and losing half of, well, more than 13, because guy moved all in for 13. Doc opened for 3,000 plus all the antes and blinds. And that cost me like 16,000. That fucking ace 10 versus ace king. But I played above the rim, dude. I played great. You know, I'm not gonna lie, dude. If I didn't play good, I know I played great. You know, I know I played great on Thursday too. It's just a shame off.
Yeah, you won Thursday, didn't you?
Well, the first hand off stream, I lost a $92,000 pot to Wesley with kings against aces, the last hand of the night, with two of us left in stand up. And nobody knew
disgusting.
About. It's just totally disgusting, especially to him. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I would have had a 40K winning week instead. I lost 10, but you know, I lost focus with one hand to go when I saw kings with two left in stand up. I was just didn't even look at Wesley. All I was thinking about is how I can make him put all his money in. You know what I'm saying? How I can make myself look weak. So I opened the 500. He made it 3,000. I made it 15,000 to make it look like I had ace king or something. So he moved all in,
and you ran into the cooler.
Yeah, I ran into the aces. Yeah, and so my whole week of playing great went out the door. I ended up losing 10 instead of winning 40, but it was fun. I thought I played really, really good. Like.
That makes me think of the 05 final table when you just got completely fucked by that one dude having the aces.
Yeah,
oh my god!
Of course, especially when I told ESPN the only way I cannot win the tournament is if I pick up kings versus aces versus one of these monkeys too.
Were you thinking at that final table? It looked like to me Andy Black was just going absolutely batshit crazy with marginal hands. Did you want to set him up like bigger than life?
I knew what I was going to do with him, but once I got knocked out, I pulled him alongside because he had all the chips. And I said, Andy, I like you. I've always liked you. You're a good guy. Slow the fuck down. Do not play a big pot. I said, do not play a big pot. If they fucking come back at you, just fold. Do not play a big pot. And what does he do? Plays this huge pot with 2 10s. Right? And then there's the one hand too. He's got Aaron Cantor by the balls with a set against Jack, and then he just lets him off the hook. He's like, "Yeah, I got you." Like, bro, you're paying for $7.5 million. Shut the fuck up. What are you doing? I felt like once I got cooler and got knocked out, the best player was me, followed by Hashem, followed by Andy. Okay, and I had played with Hashem for days, and I knew how good he was playing. He played really solid. You know somebody's good when they stay out of your way, and you stay out of their way, and you just kind of like you
pick on the other monkeys.
Yes, that's why I was so mad at Greg in 2004 because he kept coming at me when we had the easiest table in the world. Like, why do you come at me when I'm not going to be greedy? I'm not going to sit there and take every chip. I'm going to be like, you take some, I take some. I'll see you head up. That's what like good players do. Good players, when they have a somewhat of a soft table, they just kind of stay out of each other's way, and that's what they're supposed to do. And so, I knew Hashem was the second best player and Andy was the third best player. Andy, I knew, was a splasher. I had played millions of hours with him, and people will say, "Oh, once I got the big bluff when I bluffed off those chips to Andy with the 9-5 offsuit, and he had like 2 pair with Jack 10 or whatever." Well,
yeah, that was spewy, brother.
But you have to understand is like once I got beat with the kings versus aces, I almost stole all my chips back. I was raising every hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even if the hand I go broke, if I win the hand when I pick Daneman off with the 10s versus his ace jack, right? When I lead out big and he moves in, and I looked right at him, I said, "I know you got ace jack. I know you got ace jack." And I call him. Like, I hold there, I'm like back to second in chips. So, like, I have to pick up kings versus aces. And by the way, if a king doesn't flop, I mean, I would have been fine, right? Because but mentally,
like you said, the cooler than the miracle. Like, are you kidding me?
Right. Well, everybody kept saying you're going to win the World Series. You're going to win the World Series, and I kept saying 1 hand at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, right? And until that king flopped, that was the first time I thought I was going to win the World Series. As soon as the heart came on the turn, I got really worried, and like I went into the corner. My best friend, I thought my best friend says you got it, but he said he got it. And so I got excited twice. And so I stayed focused, and I thought I played good. I played real aggressive. But, every time in between hands, I kept thinking about the king that flopped instead of the cooler. I was ready to pay, and let's go to the next hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so...
But, you have it right there, and it's just taken from you, Yeah. That's just
the tournament's over if I win that pot. I have 85% of the chips 8-handed.
Yeah.
It's over. It's just over. I just raise every single hand, and if anybody plays back at me, I fold. That's what I'm going to do. And people don't realize, like, I was the most aggressive no-limit hold'em player in the world through 2006 until Phil Galfond
named after you.
Until Phil Galfond's
Kitty games down.
Yeah. Till Phil Galfond
down the street, dude. Yeah. That was you.
Yeah. Till Phil Galfond's teaching site taught everybody bet sizing. Like, you could teach anybody poker, but don't teach them bet sizing. That's where you knew the way they threw their chips in is how you know what they had. You know what I'm saying? And the truth of the matter is, if you focus hard, even against the best players, you watch how everybody puts their chips in and how they react to the flop. Everybody gives something away, and you just have to be focused. Like when Alex Foxton picked off Mateus with ace-9 high, I asked Phil Hellmuth, what did he give away? Phil fucking called me right back in 1 minute and told me exactly what he gave away. Because that's why he might not be mathematically, like, he's a horror show, bet sizing mathematical wise, and he doesn't want to learn because he thinks he knows it all. But when it comes to hold'em. Yeah, because when it comes to reading people, like, he sees everything. So he knew right away, called me right back. That's why I said, if you watch that hand I get called with 4th pair, you'll call me back next week and you'll say, I know what you gave away, Mike, right? And anybody on here, like, goes and looks at that hand, you could put in the chat next week, you could tell me what I gave away, and I know what I gave away. So I'll know when somebody either calls me or texts in the chat what I gave away, because I used it right back against him with the ace queen, and he snap folded 10s. So I knew
that was a very nice move too.
Well, that tells me that what I gave away, and I thought I gave away, was 100% what I gave away, because I did the exact opposite this hand, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And that's you can watch on Hustler Casino live. It's last Wednesday, or 2 weeks ago Wednesday now. Today's Wednesday. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And it's about 90 minutes in, I would guess, because I'd played one hand in 90 minutes and then got called with 4th pair. But yeah, I knew what I gave away.
So when I'm at the table, I think one thing you can really pick up on is I think betting pattern tells is the biggest one.
Well, yeah.
I think a lot of people subconsciously, if they're weak, they bet weak, strong, they bet strong. Now, everyone's different.
Everybody's
but I think
different.
That's a good one overall.
I still believe the people that throw their chips in, place their chips in, because see, we're a creature of habit, right? We're not. Mm-hmm. We're looking at our cards, right? We're like, how much can we get out of somebody? Or, how can I bluff this hand? And like, it's very hard to subconsciously tell yourself, grab the chips, put them in a certain way, announce your bet, don't announce your bet, right? And be consistent, because you're not thinking of that. You're thinking of the poker game. So everybody's going to make some kind of mistake, and you have to find it. And the people that are really good, have good instincts, are going to find it. And everybody gives something away, even the best players that fucking study their own videos for hours upon hours upon hours to make sure they don't give away something. Give away something, because you just do. It's in your mental thought process. It happens, right? Like even in 2008, right? This guy who was really, really tight, but he kept raising my blind, and I'm just focusing on his betting pattern. I'm like, there's no way this guy's picking up a hand on my blind every single time, right? So I'm focusing, I'm watching him, and then I watch him put his chips in different. And I said, aha. And I moved in on him with 10-5 of clubs. And he snap called me with ace king, and I hit a 5 to double up. The moral of the story is he was fucking bluffing me, had nothing all those times that he was raising, and the time I thought that he changed his betting pattern up was when he had a hand.
Then when he had the nuts.
When he had ace
God.
King. Right. And so after the rest of the day, he could no longer open on my blind, because now I know, right? And everybody.
Well, I think there is something too. Like when you do show a bluff like that, people stop fucking with you. Like when they see, like, oh God, this crazy Mattisau fucker or TJ or Frank Stepuchin, this motherfucker's got balls to like 3-bet with 9 high, 10 high, whatever. The table stops. They stop picking on you. They stop messing with you.
Yeah.
They know you got game, right?
And when do I give it away? Let's just say like in the WPT championship, right? I had not played one hand like an hour and a half. Guy raises under the gun. I saw it was weak. I 3-bet him with like ace 9 big, right? And he calls, and then I bet big on the flop. I had nothing. He folded, and he showed me deuces. And but then the hand that I get stacked, and I hadn't had it was the only time I had a playable hand. The whole time was the guy 2 over to me, raised, so it was under the gun +2. He was kind of solid. I picked up ace queen of clubs, and I 3-bet him really big. And I remember I'd only played one hand, so my image was really good. But I 3-bet him so big that I committed myself to the pot. And he moved in, and I had to call, and he had kings. And I lose like 22 big blinds in the pot. But if I when he raised it to 2 big blinds, and I make it like 6 big blinds, 3-bet, and he 4-bet jams, I could get away from ace queen. But instead I 7x'd it, where I left myself like 13 bigs left. So I committed myself like an idiot. I mean, I could lose 2. I could win. I could also hit an ace 2-1 dog once in a while. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so,
God.
I tell people all the time, you're allowed to make hands. I'm allowed to make hands. When I won that charity event tournament like a couple weeks ago, and I just made hand after hand, and I'm thinking to myself, how do I never, when I raise with 9-10 suited, I never flop flushes. I'm raising with 7-8 suited, 8-9, and I'm flopping a flush every hand, right? I defend with 9-6
if,
suited. Comes
if I
6,
have
6, 9.
9-10 or 7-8 or 7-9, 9 jack, whatever. If I flop a gut shot, I'm like ecstatic.
Yeah, it comes ace king every fucking time when I have it. You know what I mean? So
I hear you there.
So like yeah, even though it was a charity event and I won it, it was exciting to win. I was playing like I was playing for a bracelet because I want to win. People winning is fun. It's fun to win. So I thought I played.
Well, Mike, am I allowed to brag for a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
I won the $800 deep stack last year. I won a bracelet last year. I was pretty fucking stoked, brother.
Dude, what did that pay? About 300?
300 and 368. You want to know something funny too? First time I've ever sold action. I have a full-time job. I don't play this shit full-time. Hell no.
I sell half of myself in every tournament because.
What's that?
I sell half of myself in every tournament. Even when I was super rich, I sold half of myself. I just. I don't like to. I don't like to. Very few people put up their own money in fucking tournaments. Like probably 80% of the people are staked.
So this is one of the only times I ever sold action. One of my buddies, I play in a weekly cash game here with at a bar, literally old school, but it's fun as hell, Mm-hmm. And one of my buddies used to own a bar in town. Really cool old dude. He wanted to buy 25% of my action. I was going out to play $1,800 worth of tournaments, a $1,000 turbo, then the $800 deep stack.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, here's the info, He texts me, I left on Monday, I think. He texts me Saturday, 12.5, so he wanted 12.5%. And then my other buddy, I parked my vehicle at his house and flew out, and he had the other 12.5%. And I give my buddy shit. Well, first off, each of these guys gave me $250, got him $46,000. It's not terrible. But I give my one buddy shit that I play with, like, yeah, if you weren't such a pussy, you could have had, instead of 46, could have had 92.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but I need Trump to abolish the IRS like yesterday, so I don't have to pay in taxes.
Well, don't worry about it, buddy. I'm working on it. I'm best friends with the head of the IRS, so.
Well,
I'm working on it.
By April, you still have to pay in, though, right? It's not going to happen in a month here, is it?
I'm working on it. First of all, you get an extension until October.
Can you? And you don't have to pay anything extra?
No. Everybody that pays taxes, every business person, they don't pay April 15th. They get an extension October 15th.
Hmm.
You didn't know that?
I'm at it.
Not
really, but when
does.
it comes to taxes and insurance, this isn't insurance, but I'm pretty stupid when it comes to that shit.
Yeah. I just
pretty goddamn dumb when it comes to life.
I got a letter in the mail from the IRS. I haven't opened it yet. I wonder if I owe money. If I do, I'm just going to call my friend who's the head of the IRS and tell him, can you fucking get rid of this for me?
Well, that could be something to speak about on next week's show. Like, hey, does this guy that just banked a bracelet last June, should he pay right now or should he wait until October and hopefully this shit gets abolished and he can save $70,000-$80,000?
First of all, you just go to your tax guy and ask for an extension.
Yeah.
Or you go to my tax guy. I don't know who you go to. I go to the guy in town here, the guy who advertises.
Well, my wife, she did it online.
Yeah.
It might have been a mistake. I don't know.
Yeah. You got to get an extension. You got to get you have to have a tax guy.
Yeah,
a guy that people who work on the people who work on gambling taxes and stuff. So, anyways, I'm gonna see if I can get another caller, man. I appreciate it, man. It was good talking.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so everyone's getting really a lot better at Hold'em right now and whatnot. I'd like to learn more about PLO. So I was playing a little online earlier today, and I just had a question like, what do you do with hands like 10-10, deuce 3, no suit, hands like that? Are those just folds, opens, calls? What are those? Like shit like that.
With what? Like
10-10, 2-3, no suits. So pocket 10s with like a deuce 4 or something. Is that an open or is that just a fold or what is that?
In
like
PLO?
If you're playing a tournament.
In PLO?
Yeah, PLO. Excuse me. Sorry, I should have said. My bad. Sorry, PLO.
Let's fold every time.
Fold every time?
100%, dude. I'll teach you. I'll tell you one thing that some of the best tournament PLO players told me, and that's never play a pair in your hand. Like Jack 7-8 is terrible. 10-10, 6-7. Just you don't want the pair in your hand because you have to flop a set. If you flop like an 8-9, you have less outs to the wrap because you got the block of 10s. The paired hands once I stopped playing the paired hands in PLO tournaments, my ROI went way up. And that's coming from two of the very, very, very best PLO tournament players in the world taught me that. So that was one of the best things I learned. Beside, unless you can 3-bet with aces and get your money in on the flop, you never 3-bet it bad aces ever. And I learned that. There's a lot of things I learned, just little things,
Like ace, deuce 7 or something like that in PLO.
Yeah, it's like always a call unless you could 3-bet. Unless you can 3-bet and then no matter what the flop comes, you could pot and be all in on the flop. Unless you got a pot size bet left after you 3-bet, you never 3-bet bad aces ever.
Huh. God, I have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
I have a lot to learn about that game, and I want to learn too.
Yeah, especially out of position. You never want to 3-bet bad aces. So.
Oh, okay.
PLO is like kind of knowing what's kind of coming on the flop. There was one hand, like when I was deep, where 7 of us left in the 6 max, and guy raised. I called the 7-8-9 queen double suited guy in the big blind, then 3-bet, and I know he's got aces. And then the opener called, and then I overcalled, and they told me, when the opener called, he's got all your cards. You got to fold. And, that was a mistake I made. So instead of losing like 125, I lost 400 in the pot. And, I learned, it's a learning experience. They're like, it makes sense after they told me that, and I just never got any hands. I thought I played great. Everybody thought I played great. I finished like 9th in the 10, or not 9th, but 14th in the 10K when Tommy Lee, the quote-unquote best fucking PLO tournament player in the world, found a way to like check raise pot me with 2 outs in the deck. Now, at the time, I thought he had 8 outs in the deck, but I learned 2 weeks later, 2 of my friends threw 6 hearts away. So he basically had 8 outs in the deck. Like, the flop came like 6, 7, 8, and I had 9, 10, Jack, King double suited. And he checked, I potted it. Like when I pot the 6, 7, 8 flop, I just have the nuts every time. And,
of course.
And he just check raised potted me with 5, 6, ace, queen with the nut heart draw. And he hit a heart on the river. I win that pot, I have guaranteed final table chips. And you final table at 10K, your minimum is 75,000. So, yeah, I was pretty unlucky. I got really unlucky at 10K twice. I had one guy when I average chips was like 500, or I'm sorry, it was like 200, and I had like 600. And they checked to a guy who pots it. It was the guy out of the big blind potted it, and there was 4 callers, so I was the 5th one in. And the flop came Jack 9, 6 rainbow, and I had 7, 8, 9, 9. So an open ender and second set, and it goes check, check. And this guy Travis, who I played a lot of cash with, he pots it to like 75,000. And I said to myself, well, even if he has 3 jacks, I'm like, and I'm cooler here. I still got 8 outs with the open ender plus a backdoor flush draw. So I pot it to like 325. And he had 500,000 also. Average was like 200. And the guy under the gun from Australia who had potted the hand pre-flop, he told me afterwards, he had king, king, 10, 8. So he had an open ender with Jack 9, 10, 8, and an overpair. And he took like 3 minutes before he folded it. He said he knew I had a set for sure. And the guy Travis just goes, I'm all in, just snaps all in. So I can't fold this and I'm all in. And I couldn't believe what he turned over. He literally turned over the ace, jack, queen, 10. 1 pair of jacks and an open ender. Well, The one guy folded the 8 that he needs and the 2 kings that he needed. Don't worry. It comes one of the 3 8s on the river. He had 3 8s and 2 kings to hit. Right? He put in 500,000 when average was 200 because he's a cash player. And that was when I was desperate for money. I was like 2016, 2017. I threw the chair across the room. I called him every name under the sun. I apologize to him because he's a good guy, But like, of course, after that hand, he had $1 million in chips, and 2 other people had $1 million in chips. The 2 other people who had $1 million in chips finished first and second, and of course, he finished 13th. You can't make that play and ever win a tournament. Just like the guy that called me like 3 years ago when I ran the bluff, when he raised me on the river with a 9-high flush, and I re-raised him on a paired board, and everybody at the table thought I had a full house except for him. And when you can't call me when my image was so tight, and he ended up finishing like 149th or something. Like, you just can't win. If you can't make that fold to me, how are you ever going to win the World Series? You know what I mean?
I think your shove was only like 2.5 times his bet too. So you're bluffing there 1% of the time.
Right.
I don't even think it was full 3x, was it?
Yeah, it was his bet plus like another. You're right. Like I had 2.5, not even 2.5 sizes bet. I had his bet times 2.5. So it's his bet plus another 300,000. Right. So I have no bluff. Like, I thought people were like, well, if you had 200,000 more, it would have worked. No, having the size that I have has a bluff 1% of the time, like almost no bluffs. Of course, everybody in the high stakes poker world, like, oh, Mike, man, you're back, man. That was skankster. Well, I know I've been back, dude. I know I've been back for a long time. I needed a blow up for everybody to tell me how good I play.
So him, I mean, maybe checking a flush there, a 9-high flush is kind of nitty, but when you're going against a guy that
check, I bet the river.
Put you in the blender.
I bet the river. That? All he had to do is call. When he raised me, and I knew he had a small flush, I knew it. I said to myself, motherfucker, you're really going to raise me here? I said, you don't think?
Let out?
I let out of the river when the club hit.
Oh, I thought he
raised me. He min raised me.
Oh my God.
And I said to myself, you really going to raise me here and don't think I have enough cojones to fucking jam on you with my fucking image? I said, fuck you, I'm going to do it. And I took my time. I counted my chips. I took about 2 minutes, and then I went all in. And everybody, by the way, the guy that finished 15th, who folded that king-queen against the ace-queen, or ace-queen against king-queen, told me that he couldn't believe he took so long. He said, everybody at the table thought you had it. And they were just felt like the guy was wasting our time, But that was whatever. I mean, people don't like to fold, man.
No, especially on a TV table, and I think spaz factor on a TV table.
Dude, I hate being on the TV table. Then he made excuses. Oh, he called me because he saw me bluff this other hand. But, that's another thing. Like, there shouldn't be half-hour delays or hour delays when you're on the TV table. It should be like 3-hour delays. There shouldn't be people be able to go look at what you're doing. That's just because that's a disadvantage to people who don't play at the TV table. Like why does it need to be more than a 3-hour delay? Why does it have to be an hour delay or a half hour, 45-minute delay or whatever it was, a half-hour delay? I think it was a half hour, an hour. But it's like, who cares how much of a delay is, right? Like people should not be affected by somebody that could go watch a hand. They want to watch a hand for 3 hours ago. Good, congratulations. But they shouldn't be able to see what
so
you
much
did.
has changed since then. Not 30 to 45 minutes. Totally agree with you. Now, can you say something to somebody?
Well, I have. They've changed it. They've changed it now to 90 minutes. But I don't think that's enough.
Still.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna see if I get another call in. All right, we've been on the phone for a long time. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. All right, later.
You bet, buddy. Talk to you.
Yeah. Team Russia, thanks you. Yeah, we ended World War III. I know you're mad, Barry. I want war. We want war. Yeah, nuclear war. Yeah, why would we want to end the war? We're pro-war. We're the left. We're pro-war. We're pro-war. We want war. Such a joke. dude. You think Trump's gonna give anything away? You're just fucking out of your fucking mind, dude. It's like he told fucking Zelensky, I gave you Javelin missiles, Obama gave you bed sheets. So don't listen to the bullshit. Welcome to Mouthpieces, Mike.
Yo, Mikey, Gifty Frank.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Did you watch me play on HCL a couple weeks ago?
I did not, man. I've been busy working, and I haven't caught it yet.
Yeah, I played really good. Really, really good.
Congrats, man.
I
know the results weren't what you wanted.
The results all came down to the last hand off stream. It's like ridiculous to get cooler like that after playing a perfect week of poker. Like when I say I played a perfect week of poker, like, yeah, I mean, I gave away one hand where I got picked off by fourth pair, but I knew what I did. But like I played good, dude. I made all the correct folds. I made all the correct calls. I just played good. And once I liked being in a dogfight. Like once I made the adjustment on the Wednesday show and I knew I was in a fucking dogfight with a bunch of fucking good players. I mean, it's good to play against good players that are playing a lot of pots. Because,
yeah, I agree.
Because now you could pick up, you look for things and you pick up things. And once I knew I was in a dogfight, I got really focused, and it was good to get really focused because, you know, I struggle to get focused sometimes, you know. I really think the Vyvances
You
really
made a
helped me a
comment
lot.
earlier in the show when talking about the King's hand versus Wesley, and you said if you click it back to 70-something hundred or 8,000,
and then he five bets me if I'm focused. Like he
Are
just
you
won a
flatting and
no. I'm gonna probably
folding?
just fold it. You know why? Because he just won a 100K pot. I've said this on the podcast many times. I know you've heard me say this. When somebody wins a pot and they come in 3-betting the next pot, they have a big hand. Okay, that's like a rule of thumb, right? Because people are so excited they won a big pot,
I agree with that.
right? That they're busy stacking their chips. They're not going to come in raising the next unless it's a real hand because they're so happy they won a big hand, right? So like,
especially if they're still stacking their chips, because I tighten the fuck out of
correct.
my range when I'm playing live.
You know, go back to 2007, the hand against Eric Seidel in London, when I knew he had aces or kings. When he raised my big blind, he had just won a big pot the hand before, right? So it went raise, and now he 3-bets while he's still stacking. And then I called with the 10-8 suited because I knew he had aces or kings, and the flop came like 10-8, like deuce with 2 spades, and I lead out real big. And then he just raises me, and I move in, and he calls me with aces. And they asked me for insurance. I didn't even know what insurance was, but I sure would have took it because at the time I was in a negative frame of mind. I'm like, oh, I'm going to lose. I know it. I always lose, you know. But if I would have just took insurance, because I didn't know what it was at the time. Anyway, it came running sevens, and I lose a $250K pot. And I mean, you could look that up. I mean, and I was like, that was in a negative mindset. But like, you know, it's like, so when
2007, is that when you were flush with money, or were
no? That was when I was struggling. So that was right after Russ Hamilton stole all my money. So
I watched a documentary about him the other day. What a fucking cocksucker! I can't believe he's still alive. To be honest with you,
I can't believe nobody killed him. I really can't. I thought somebody.
I
figured somebody 10 years down the road would kill him. Yeah, because he fucked people out of a lot of money.
Especially with the resources people that are millionaires come across. Like I fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't want to say on a podcast.
Yeah, of course.
We all know somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So like because we couldn't believe how this guy handed Wesley this 100K pot the way he did it. And Wesley was so happy, right? And there's 2 of us left in stand-up, and I look down at Kings, right? I'm not focused at him. I'm like, I'm going to make it 500, so it looks like I'm trying to steal stand-up instead of opening for like 200, right? I make it 500. Maybe somebody will think I'm trying to win stand-up, and so Wesley like 3-bet me 6x. And I'm
All right,
like,
do me a favor, since I haven't watched a hand. I don't mean to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but give me a quick rundown on what stack sizes are. And
well, I had 46,000 and he had like, I don't know, 250,000 in front of him, whatever,
and
200,000.
is there still double straddles going on at
No,
this point?
this was the ante game for it's $25 ante. So I just opened under the gun for 500. There was 2 of us left in stand up, so it was like 300 a man stand up, and so I wanted to. So there was like 6 of us left. So I wanted to. I lost focus because I wanted to look weak because there was 2 of us left in stand up, but.
Is
And
Wesley a part of the guy in stand up or no?
No, he's safe, and he just won the 100K pot, and so. If I'm focused and we're not all like, what the fuck just happened? How did you just win this 100K pot? Right? We're not, and we're all, half of us are standing because we know the stream is over, and this is like the last hand, the next person out of stand up, and then we're done with everything. If I would have just stayed focused and kept an eye on the game, open for 500, him 3-bet me to 3,000. Now he did 3-bet me awfully fast, but again, he just won the hand before, 100K pot. So he's not 3-betting me light. You see what I'm saying? So if I don't lose focus and he makes it 3,000, right? I can now 4-bet it to 8,500. And because he just won the hand before for 100K, he's never going to 5-bet jam me without it. And I could probably just fold and lose 8,500 on the hand. But because
you don't think he plays queens the same way?
No, he says he would play queens the same way, but I don't believe that. Not when you just won a 100K pot against somebody who's playing pretty tight.
And that stand-up thing creates another, dynamic.
I mean, he says he would have jammed queens, maybe, but you know what? If I size correctly at 8,500 at 4-bet, and then he 5-bets me.
This is the same Asian guy that stacked off to Dwan in that record pot, right?
Correct.
Gotcha.
And so,
I don't know.
if I don't lose focus, I could probably get away from kings. Like, I don't get stacked 46,000. Okay, I'm too good a player. I've gotten away from kings a million times, But I lost. I was so, just like he was so excited that he won this 100K pot. I was so excited to see the kings with 2 people left in stand up that I wanted to look weak. So I made it 500. He made it 3,000. I made it 15 to make it look like I got ace king. And then he jammed and I called. And he had aces but again,
at the end of the day, it's just an unfortunate cooler.
It's unfortunate cooler, but I could have got away because he's never he's never 5-bet jamming ace king, okay? And is it possible he has queens? Sure, but who cares, right? He's either got aces or queens, and like if you lose 8,500, you don't
think, I know you have, double removal for ace king suited, but I mean, a lot of people.
He just knows, if I size correctly, right? He makes it 3, and I 4-bet it to 8,500. You know how strong that looks? I mean, he's never going to 5-bet with, I mean, he could have queens, but he's never going to 5-bet ace king. He's going to be aces or queens. And I just lost focus. I'm not going to lie. People say, no, you just got cooler. You got cooler. I got cooler, but if I was focused, I would not have got stacked. I would have lost like 9K, 10K, and probably got away from it. But
I remember reading in Dan Harrington's Harrington on Hold'em book, which I think those 3 volumes that he wrote were fucking way ahead of the game.
Way ahead.
And he just always said never fucking fold kings pre, and I kind of just programmed that in my head for the last 20 years.
Yeah, but everything's set up for where I could fold it. It's the guy just won a 100K pot. He's standing. He's laughing. He's excited. Okay? He's not 5-bet jamming 46,000 when he just won a 100K pot without aces. Do you understand?
I mean, that's quite possible.
No, people don't win a 100K pot and then the very next hand 5-bet jam 46K against the tightest player at the table without it.
when you add the stand-up dynamic in there, and
doesn't
from my
matter.
history of watching
He
him
knows that
online,
I'm
he's
not.
a little
He knows that
too-
I'm not the type of guy that gives a fuck about losing 2,200 in stand-up. I lost. I
Gotcha.
couldn't see past my hand because it was the last hand of the night, and I overplayed it to make myself look weak. In other words, I opened 5x instead of 200. I opened to 500. He made it 3,000. I snapped 15,000, and I didn't see past my own hand. And then he moved all in. I didn't even look at him. I just said call, and he said aces. I was in totally shock because I lost focus. I mean, if you're focused,
it is what it is.
that was like the whole dynamic of him winning this 100K pot, laughing, couldn't believe that he got paid off, and standing up while counting, still stacking his chips, and being the last one left in stand up against me. If I size it correctly, I get away from it and I lose 9,000. He's just never 5-bet jamming it against me. You know, or even if I make it 9,000 and then he 5-bets it to 21,000. Like, I mean, like, what am I mean, he's never doing it with fucking tens. I just 4-bet it to 9K, let's just say. Like, you know how strong that looks for somebody like me? My image? I fucked up.
Yeah, I guess I'm not.
You have to understand, like, when it's the end of it's not like we're not in the middle of the game. It's the end of the game where a guy just won 100K
That
pot.
does make a big difference.
It makes all
Lock
the
it up.
difference, okay? And I lost focus because I was standing up and stacking my chips and we were done. So, yes, I got coolered, unfortunately, kings versus aces. And justice would have been, when he said, and of course he doesn't run it twice, like one time. Well, first of all, I had kings versus aces. I don't want to run it twice. I want to run it once. That's
Yeah,
how
you can't
stupid
win
he
that
is.
twice.
Like when the guy's like fucking dead, you want to run it as 3 times. You know what I'm saying? You know, you don't want to run it. I mean, if I have 2 outs in the fucking deck, or if I'm set aces against kings, let's run it once. Let me hit a king. Like, let me hit a king one time. Let there be justice in the world. You know.
Yeah, no shit. I know what you mean there.
And then tonight while I was playing, right, I was down like 11,000. I raise, guy makes it 800, guy calls 800. I make it 3,600 with queens. The guy made it 800. I just thought he was weak. Now the guy in the middle calls the 3,600. I just know he's got 9s, 10s, or maybe even jacks. And comes 335, and he checks. I just move in for my last 6,000. He calls. He has 10s, and 10 rolls right on the turn. And we end up chopping this pot. So instead of winning 11,000, where he's got 2 outs in the deck twice with the 8%, you know, I end up. So now, I mean, you can't even make this shit up. So now it gets the same guy. It goes raise under the gun and 4 callers. But it was only a small raise. It's like 120. So I make it 999. I'm playing 10,000 total. And he calls. And there's 2,100 in the pot. And the flop comes 10-6-3 rainbow. And now he checks. I bet super small. 600 in.
So what do you have here again?
Aces. Same guy that hit the 10 on the turn. And I bet like 650 in the 2,100, not even a third pot, like 25% pot, and he calls. 3-6-10 rainbow. Turn card comes a 4, he checks, I check. Like, I'm never
That's
checking.
That's the standard bet sizing, though, on that dynamic.
Correct.
Board.
But only a fucking idiot. I would never check aces on the turn. I'm going to bet it, especially with a 3, 4, 6, 10 board. And it was the 4 came on the turn, right? And so I check it to look like I had ace king or I had nothing, and maybe the guy will spaz out, right? And now the river comes like a blank, and he just jams 7,100 into 3,500, like 2x pot. I'm like, why would he 2x pot after I fucking checked the turn? It looks like I got nothing. So now I'm thinking
super bluffy.
so it looks so bluffy, right? And I snap him, and he showed me 3 6s. Right? Like, nobody in their right mind's ever checking in aces on the turn. They're going to bet it. And I checked it because I thought he had like a 10 or a gutter ball. And I thought that if I checked it, he would spaz out on the river. You know, like if he bets like 3,000 on the river or 2,400 on the river, I could decide. When he bets like 2x pot after I checked a blank on the fucking turn, it tricked me. So now the guy who should be down to me like 13,000 is all of a sudden up. He's actually winning like 11 at the time, and then he gets it all in with a set of 4s against the board. Came ace queen 4 with the ace 4 of clubs, and the guy had king queen of clubs. He had a set of 4s, and the guy hit a club on both boards, and he paired the board on both boards. That's how good he was.
Oh, wow.
So like he ended up he quits the game like 19K winner, but like he's supposed to be down 11 to me with the queens versus 10s, and like calling like 9.99 when I have a 10K stack with a set with 6s is basically right on the cusp.
Yeah, not the best time to set mine.
Right. And set mining against me, is ridiculous because like it's very hard to stack me, you know? That's why I like my check with the aces on the turn, because it looks like when I bet super small on the flop after I 3-bet, like it looks like I have nothing.
Well, you're playing pot control and you want a cheap showdown.
Well, I just think that it looks like I'm so weak that
I agree that, yeah, for sure.
That he's going to bet probably like 1,500, or even with a gutter ball that he missed 7, 8, 8, 9, right? But when he moves in after I checked a blank on the turn, it just looks so bluffy to me that I said, how could he move in?
I agree.
I played the hand so weak, and he had a set. So give him credit for the way he played it, but like, I mean, I played it in a way where I if he did have a set, he would never bet big, and he did. So, but I didn't think he had a set. I didn't think he had shit. When he snapped all in, I'm like, there's no way he has me here.
Yeah, I mean, I like your line there. I think that's pretty standard.
And listen, it's really good to show weakness if you think there's a chance they flop the set, because then they're going to try and steal it with like second pair or a gutter ball or just anything, right? But they're not going to bet big. You know, if I bet the turn, I probably get away from the hand. If I bet the turn, because the guy's a pretty tight player, and he raises me on the 3, 4, 6, 10, I just probably could fold it. But I decided to get tricky because I thought he didn't have much, and by looking weak, he would bet small. And when he went all in, I got him for sure, and I snap him, and he had a set. So credit to him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Just one of those things.
Listen, the one thing about no limit hold'em is, and I learned so much by playing against these pros a couple weeks ago Wednesday, and it's a really good show to watch because you're going to pick up what the guy Shea picked up on me and why he called me, and you're going to pick up how he ended up calling Mariano with kings, who 4-bet pre-flop and barreled every street for like 90K. And the board rolled off.
Are you willing to say whether it was timing or sizing?
No,
or
I don't want to say anything what Mariano had, something that he gave off, but I know what he gave off. Or what I had, but I want you to, and people who listen to the show, to next week.
I'll check it out. I'll call in next week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be in Reno till Friday, but when I get back, I'll run a podcast, and then. And it's obvious what I gave away. Trust me, I knew right away. So, listen, I love playing high stakes poker at a high level. Like, honestly, if I had the money to play super high again, I know how good I am. I would love it, But I can't afford the swings. And like I said, like playing in that game on that Wednesday, I mean, I was over my head. Like, when they're putting the 100, 200, 400 straddles on it, I can't afford to play where I could lose 100,000. And I lost 14,500. And I'm telling you, I don't think I could play any better. I got super unlucky twice, 3-1 favorite, where I got scooped for 13,000 and lost half, or got scooped for 13, where I would have, or lost half for like 16, and lost a whole one for like 12,000 pre-flop, against ace 9. Like if I even chop that and I hold the ace king against ace 10, I end up winning 10K. So overall, I played really good. I mean, but it was good playing at a high level.
What you lost is,
like even this big hand, this guy was stuck the whole time, and he was a little spooey, and he ends up picking up aces against kings, going for his third button. And when you win 3 in a row, everybody has to pay you $1,000. And he opened for 3,000. And when he opened for 3,000, see, and this again, that came into my thought process when I opened for 500 that was like the second to last hand of the night with him. When he opened for 3,000, I said, boy, that would be amazing if this guy opened for 3,000 and had like a big pair, because it looks like, quarter 50, 100 blinds, and you're opening for 3,000. It looks like you're trying to win the third button. And,
yeah, no shit.
And Brown Balla, he re-raises them and he makes a speech. And when he makes a speech, I'm like, oh my God, he's never made a speech all day. He's got to have a monster, right? And he makes a 15,000. And the guy on the 2 buttons, he calls. And now the flop comes.
Jeez, that's some crazy fucking size.
Dude, the flop came 9, 6, 3 with 2 hearts. And Brown Balla bets 14,000. And I really think Brown Balla's got a big hand. And now the kid calls 14,000. And now I'm like, I honestly think the kid's got queens. And Brown Balla's, got kings. And so now the turn card came a 3, 6, 9 with 2 hearts. The turn card came a 7 of hearts. Brown Balla checks. The kid checks. And the river comes like a deuce, blank. And Brown Balla checks. And the kid moves all in for 46,000.
So 6, 8, 3.
I'm sorry, the river comes a queen. I'm sorry, the river comes a queen. I thought, and when the kid moves all in, I'm like, oh my God, he has 3 queens, right? I mean, it has to be the queen. And Brown Balla goes in the tank, and he's like, sorry guys, I got 2 black kings. And I was like, a lot of us was kind of shocked.
How much did the kid rip it for?
46. So 15,000 pre-flop each, 30. 14 on the flop each is 28, right? So there's 58 in the pot, and then the kid rips it for 46,000. Now, I knew the kid wasn't bluffing. I didn't know that Brown Balla had kings because he checked it on the turn and the river. You know what I'm saying? And he goes, I got 2.
I think what could he have here?
Well, and so, but the kid who is spazzing a little bit, it's like, you know he's not bluffing. He's going for his 3rd button in a row. He opens for 3,000. He calls a 15,000 raise, and he calls a 14,000 raise bet on the flop of 9, 6, 3 with 2 hearts. And the 7 of hearts comes off. I mean,
well, what does he fucking
and so
have
Brown Balla, like, he ends up at the end saying, flipping, spade I call, club I fold, right? And he starts thinking, well, he could have ace queen with the ace of hearts, and the guy floats a lot. He plays a lot of post flop.
Okay, so there is 3 hearts on board.
Yeah, 3 hearts. I said, yeah, okay. but the thing is, if he had ace queen with the ace of hearts, when the heart rolls off, he's going to bet the fucking turn. Like, right. You're not floating to fucking check the heart on the fucking turn.
Right.
So he ends up spade I call, club I fold. And it comes spade, he calls. And he's like, whoops, I lost the flip. And the kid turned over 2 red aces with the ace of hearts. Played it really good. I mean, me personally, when the guy makes it 15, I would have just jammed right on the flop.
I agree. I don't really like the flat
Right,
three.
you're on your third button, dude. You're gonna pick up 15,000 without seeing a flop if the guy has nothing.
18, anything
And the
like
guy's
that.
never
So
folding.
what
You're
are you
trying to
going
win your
for?
third button. The guy's never folding
Exactly.
anything. Like queens or jacks, he's fucking calling. So,
I agree.
but like we talked about the hand after, and Brown Ball was right. He goes, I knew he wasn't bluffing. And I said, I thought he had pocket queens. I said, I think you could get away when the queen hits. Because if he has jacks or tens, he's just going to, after Brown Baller checks turn and river, he's just going to roll it over. He's not going to turn him into a bluff.
Obviously, yeah. What is he going to turn that into a bluff for?
Correct.
And
So
what is he going to be betting for value?
So Brown Balla really broke this hand down well, where he said, I know he's not bluffing, but he could have ace queen with the ace of hearts and think the queen was good. And I'm like, come on, man. If the guy floated you 14,000 with the dry ace of hearts, he's going to fucking jam when the heart comes off.
Rip it in your face on the turn.
Yeah. And so I knew the guy wasn't bluffing either, but the way he played it by checking the turn and river, I mean, it puts you in a really tough spot with two black kings. You know?
Yeah, way to get max value, I guess.
But-
I mean, he would have got it at any point of the hand, but
Correct. But the
He
way
obviously doesn't know he has kings.
the way the kid played it was the only way Brown Baller could actually get away from this hand,
yeah, that's true.
right? Because like it cost 15,000 on the flop, half a pot, or 14,000, or 50. It was half the pot.
You said he had two black kings.
Two black kings, and then check turn, and then Brown Baller checks river, and the kid moves all in. Like if he had jack, he called 15,000 on the flop. I mean, if he has a fucking 9, he's just gonna roll it over. You know, if he's got like 9-10 suited, which pretty obvious he's not gonna have that for 15,000 pre-flop in a quarter 50.
Agreed.
You know, I mean, Brown Baller felt it. You know, when he turned over the black kings, everybody was shocked at the way that he had black kings because check turn, check river. You know, and it was a tough spot, but I felt that like afterwards, like Brown Baller said, he goes, I knew he wasn't bluffing. You know?
How do you feel about people doing that randomizing shit?
What do you mean?
Like where you said, if it's a black or red, I'm going to call.
Oh, I do that all the time. Like I'll just like shuffle my cards and be like, spade I call, club I fold, or whatever. I mean, if you're 50-50 and you're not sure what to do, I flip all the time. I've been pretty lucky, by the way, on the flips. Like
I guess
twice I've had call. I've been and it ended up being right. Twice I had fold and I ended up being right. Like the last 4 flips I made by saying club I call have been right. So like he said, I just lost a flip. He goes, if it comes up club, I fold. And we talked about it at the party, at Ryan's party, like he was there 2 days later, and he just knew he wasn't bluffing. And he really can't be bluffing if you really think about it, the way the hand broke down. You know, but I think it's insane that he doesn't jam when the guy makes a 15,000 pre-flop, kind of like Wesley did to me.
I agree.
You know, it's like when a guy.
You guys were talking about taxes earlier with the last caller, and I've been playing a little bit of Hold'em on the Club WPT website. I deposited over a week like $2,000, playing. Obviously way above my head, some of the tournaments and some 2-4 heads up. And I decided to cash out a little bit of money. I was up a bit, so I'd go to cash out $1,500 and just free roll whatever else I have in my account. And that was 2 weeks ago. I finally get an email from the support at Club WPT, and they requested that I fill out a W-9.
Right.
Because any cash out over $600 requires it, and I think that's fucking ridiculous.
Oh, it's at the Club WPT Gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because it's a sweepstakes site.
$600 is their threshold. That's fucking nuts.
It's ridiculous.
It's not their threshold, it's the government.
It's it's a sweepstakes site. You know.
Okay, I got you. That's not their set price.
I don't want to say anything bad about it, but it is amazing that everybody's got a code to Club WPT, but the guy who helped start the WPT Somebody like me, they don't even. It's like I'm like toxic to them, you know.
Yeah, that is pretty aggravating.
I mean, I got like a reputation in poker by everybody in poker as a flawless reputation. Like, I've paid everybody back. I'm a good person. I got a heart of gold, and they'll give
You're
people
too
like,
outspoken.
yeah, but they'll give people like Doug Polk, a guy that Phil Galfond can't stand. You know, they'll give him like
I feel you.
platform.
I guess it's not personal. You speak your mind, and they want puppets, I guess.
I mean,
Or sweet
kind of
like
like
Brad Owens.
listen, I'm friends with Phil Ivey. I love the guy. He's a good guy. We used to be really close. It's sad we're not as close as we used to be, and it's my fault because I unfortunately took Howard's side during the whole full tilt fiasco. But like, they're paying him, and he shows up and doesn't even want to be there. Like, he showed up for the Club WPT Gold Pass thing and just punted off his chips in 5 minutes and left. Like if you're gonna pay,
that's a waste of money. His face
I'm
is
just
on
saying,
the
if you're
website,
gonna
on the
pay
front
somebody
page.
to rep you, the person who reps you needs to be all in. Like, it needs to be supportive of what they're repping. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you might not like Doug, and you might not like the things he says or does. I mean, I have no problem with him, but like, you know, at least he's all in. Like, he's treating Club WPT sign up with my pass like they're paying him millions of dollars, which they might be.
Well, he's earning his money. Yeah.
You know, they might be. You know, it's like, you didn't even talk about the lodge anymore. It's just like, oh, and then like other people like Rampage and Jamie Kerstetter, no, use my passcode. And they're like, I'm like how much are these people getting paid to use a passcode? You know, nobody's ever like offered me anything. You know.
Let me ask you this. You might know a bit about this. So I've heard through the grapevine that Rampage runs an online private game, and other than that, I think all he has is the WPT sponsorship.
Yeah.
So unless he made fucking tons of money in Bitcoin,
No, he doesn't have money.
Or
he doesn't have money.
Unless he's raking a crazy amount of money, like the dude is fucking horrible.
No, he doesn't have money. He's a nice guy, and he puts out good content, from what I hear.
Yeah, his content's entertaining and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
But
what I hear.
like,
Yeah.
I don't even watch it anymore, to be honest with you.
I've never
because
watched
it
any of
gets
it.
so much.
I never watched any of it, you know. But, you know, I'm not, listen, I'm the type of person that don't like people to know how I play. And now I know why I don't like people to know how I play. Because playing in that high stakes game on Wednesday with a lot of pros, like, really got my blood flowing. Like, I loved it because that made me focus twice as hard as I normally do. And I was really seeing the fucking field beautifully. And I know if I played against them guys every fucking day, I would destroy them because I see everything. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I hear you.
and the reason why Mariano's gotten killed on that Wednesday, everybody says he's gotten murdered. He's won all his money on Fridays, is because those guys all play better than he does. Every one of them. And on the Friday games, you know, you play with there's a lot of fish on the Friday games. I tell you what,
Is there any?
if I lived in LA, or even if I told Ryan I wanted to come down once a month, I really should play once a month because those games are fucking good, dude. Those games.
So
are
do you
good.
prefer playing live Hold'em or PLO?
Hold'em?
I heard the 1025 game at Aria is like pretty juicy,
It
super
is.
soft, depending
is.
on lineup.
The PLO
but usually
game?
soft.
The PLO game is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The PLO 4. Yeah.
The 3-5-10 with a rock is really soft.
I heard that as well. Like,
Yeah. But
obviously,
listen,
it would be a lot easier for you to
you play a lot
that
of
than go to
PLO.
Los Angeles.
You pay a lot of PLO. I mean, like, the best PLO players are going to make a lot more money than Hold'em, but they're also going to swing a lot more. You know?
No, yeah, you ain't fucking lying about that.
But yeah, I mean, it got my juices flowing, and I enjoyed it. And they could say I'm too tight or whatever. I'm not too tight, dude. I know what I'm doing. I watch the games. Like, you know, the best players in the world play tight. Okay, like I don't want to say this, but like, like, I mean, this is what Keating told me one day, right? Like, he plays in the big Phil's billionaire game with all the rich guys and stuff, and he said Jason Kuhn also plays in the game, and Jason Kuhn wins all the money, and I guess Keating said to him, he goes, "You win all the money. Why don't you give some action?" And he says, "Why should I?" And if they like him, which
if he's not at risk of being booted, so
correct.
yeah, why not?
Right. And so like they like Jason Kuhn, and they like Kyle Canis has come out like as one of his closest friends, because Jason Kuhn, he might beat them out of money, but he'll also sit with them and teach them and help them and tell them things to make their game better. And he's a nice guy. Like, Jason Kuhn's like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I mean, the guy's got a heart of gold, super nice guy, very talented, studies the game, up and down, but the truth of it, that's just, the best players in the world are not in there playing all kinds of hands and putting all kinds of this crazy action. Like, when you see Keating on stream, like, play crazy.
Fucking advertisement.
Dude, that's all it is, dude.
Yeah, if he dusts off 100 ball, he's going to be invited to a bigger game and
correct.
Make it 10x.
Correct, and it's not even about that. It's about more like the business aspect. Like, Keating told me, like, his actions got him into games that people have given him great business advice that he's made infinite millions with, just from the business advice.
That's
so
awesome.
It's like, and I don't think he'd lie to me, but like, he told me over the last 3 years, he's like, I don't want to say how much he's loser, but he's loser in poker, and that doesn't shock me, but overall, he's done well because he's a nice guy and he gives action and he's
did some good networking, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. He does good work at networking. And matter of fact, I had a piece of a friend of mine who played in his game last week. I took 5%. My friend won like $110,000 in the game. And then they kicked him out for playing too tight. But like, Keating's invited me to his game many times, But I
what stakes do they play?
Well, I mean, he'll say it's like, one day he told me, "Oh, we're playing small tonight, Mike. It's 50 and 100," and I said, "Okay." Me and Phil just went 10,000 a piece, right, or 15,000 a piece, and I get there, it's 50, 100, 200, 400, 800. I said to Phil, we're going to need a bigger boat, right?
Yeah, no,
and
you got
so like
40 big blinds.
I think I won like 2,500 and just quit. Right? I knew the game was too big for me, But just kind of like the quarter 50 on Wednesday, I didn't know it was going to be quarter 50, 100, 200, 400, They were playing all the crazy games. The game is huge. But I was up to the challenge because I won big. So I was kind of like free rolling. I won 40K the first day. And I really loved the way. I thought I played great, like the last caller said. I really did. I thought I was completely in control of everything. And I knew where I was at all times. And so that's a good feeling. Yeah, it's unfortunate I lose 10K for the week because of the last hand, but it felt good to play
poker.
well.
I mean, you could play perfect and lose, but as long as
even tonight, I was just telling you the story about the guy having aces when I had a set of sixes, right? Meanwhile, I was able to grind back a 4,500 win right before the show. So, and I had a hand where I called with sixes, and the flop come 4-4 deuce, and I donk led like 200 and 800, 250 and 800. I get one caller, and I just fucking knew he has a 4, and a 6 rolled off. And now I like overbet the turn, and he calls, and then the river comes like a king, and then he just donk led, and for like 25% pot, and I raised him like 5K, and he called. He had a 4, and I made sixes full. And then I picked up another big pot with in a bomb pot. It came 3-5 jack with 2 hearts, and I had a set of 5s. Guy let out for 300. I make it like 1,200. He called. Turn card came a 7, so 4-6 is the only thing that beats me, but I don't think he's got 4-6. And I overbet pot. I bet like 3,000 into like 2,200, and he called. And now I was thinking maybe he doesn't have a fucking draw. I thought he had heart draw, and I wish I would have bet smaller on the river. Maybe he would have fucking raised me, but he just folded the river, so I know he had a heart draw. So yeah, so I won that pot, and then I won a hand I talked about earlier on the show where I 4-bet a guy who just lost a big pot with sevens. It came 6-6-5. He checked. I bet like half pot. He called. And it came a 4 on the turn. And I ripped it for like 15,000 into like 7. He folded 2 8s, and I showed him sevens. And then there was another hand. And he was kind of tilted, and I had sevens again, and I should have just jammed it on him. And I had $100 in the pot, and the podcast was getting ready to start, and I folded. He had nothing. He made it like 5,500 on tilt with King 3. I knew he had nothing too, but you know, when they tilt, they're liable to tilt him. Just remember, even a monkey tilted can pick up a hand. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And he did, by the way, like 2 hands later against somebody else, and doubled through him. And I just didn't want it to be me. So, anyways, hey Frank, good talking to you.
I realized a couple of things really quickly about Hold'em. So I haven't played Hold'em other than, you know, a few tournaments here and there online, but mainly just playing PLO cash. So I'm playing on my own now, and a lot of the games I was playing in are a bit bigger than I feel like exposing myself to right now. It's just too swingy. So I was playing on Club WPT and playing smaller buy-in tournaments, you know, 33s, 55s, and, you know, just our daily shit, and some cash 1-2, 2-4 heads up and whatnot. And man, there's not fucking spots anymore like it used to be online. Like, everyone knows what they're doing nowadays playing 2-card.
Yeah.
No one's spewing and giving it away.
In PLO anymore?
No, in 2-card Hold'em.
No, nobody gives it away in 2-card Hold'em, dude. You got to get in a private game. You got to get on like these stream games.
That's where it's at.
You know, like you watch
100% where it's at.
You know, you watch all the streams I played, like even when you're playing against pros, like I was on that Wednesday when everybody had the straddle and there was 3-betting and 4-betting. I love it, dude. I love fucking the challenge. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna find my spots, and that's all it is, dude.
So when you play in a game like that, are you setting a goal for a number, you know, an amount that you want to win, and you're kicking rocks, or are you just
I just want to make sure I want to go with my read, make the call when it's correct, and make the full when it's correct, and you know that's where you make all your money. You know what I'm saying? It's like if they think I'm tight, right? There's going to be a chance to use that image later on in the stream, right? You know, and like I said, like talk about the hand where I got called with 4th pair. I know what I gave away, right? And I used it back against him. And so you just got to, man, when you're playing with great players that are playing a lot of pots, you got to pick up shit, man. You have to focus. You know, it's you know, when you're playing against people who are playing tight, like I did on the Monday show where everybody's hands were face up, I didn't have to do anything. I knew what it was. Their hands were face up before, you know, pre-flop. There was nobody challenging me, and that's why it took me a while to adjust. That's why I kind of got stacked the Ace Queen versus Kings to Mariano early in that Wednesday show. But yeah, I mean, making the adjustment to playing against good players is. I
look at it like this, Mike. Tell me if I'm crazy. So I was playing some heads up 2-4 Hold'em online, and I probably have over 1 million hands played heads up over the years. That's what I specialize in. So I still do just back to basics. I min raise every 95% of buttons.
In PLO?
The frequency of my seed bets. No, in Hold'em.
In cash?
But
head up.
Playing heads up cash, yeah. And I realized, like, I'm picking up on people's frequencies of donking on range advantage boards and stuff.
Of course you're going
to.
You know, it's kind of like Phil, you know, he played Phil Galfond head up. Of course, everybody thought he didn't have a chance. And, you know, Phil adjusted nicely. You know, he was limping tons of buttons. He noticed that Phil was folding too many buttons. And I guess at the end, like Phil won like 80% or something of the hands he entered. And the one thing about Phil is like if he picks up on frequencies, he knows how to adjust. You know, like Daniel losing 1.2 million and Doug Polk head up is a joke, right? Like Doug baited him into playing his style of poker, you know, where he's 3-betting, 4-betting, jamming, you know. It's like,
well, that's my point. So
I mean,
Phil Hellmuth, for example, is 100% exploitive player. He doesn't play GTO style. Daniel is a mix of that. And to give him credit, I watched that stream several times, and he wouldn't have lost 1.2, but he was playing higher variant strategy toward the end to try to fill the gap.
Correct. He would have lost like 700.
He went on a run.
Right. He would have lost like 700.
5-7. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Like he also, you know, if he would have, like I remember Doug saying, "Oh, I thought you were gonna play way weaker," right? But see, if he would have played really weaker and start setting him up, and then, you know, that's where the limp of the button does so much. You know what I'm saying? You have to, the fact that I remember the thing that Doug did the most is he baited Daniel into playing his style, right? And yes, he probably would have only lost like 650, 700. The end, he was just trying to win the challenge, so he lost the 1.2, right? But I thought Daniel's strategy, I watched a lot of it. I thought it went right into Doug's hands. And you remember when Daniel or Doug was way ahead and then started limping the button every hand, and then Daniel's like, well, how could you start playing like that with like so many hundreds how many hands are left? Like that's kind of pushy shit.
It's the guarantee, it's the guarantee to win.
Correct, right? But like the truth of the matter is Daniel should have never let himself get into Doug's strategy. Like Daniel should have been limping a lot of buttons, right? Controlling a lot of pots. And not put himself where he was down that much, you know.
The point of my question basically is when you're like when he played Jason Kuhn, Hellmuth played Jason Kuhn.
Jason and Phil played terrible.
Jason's gonna play. Say that again.
Phil played terrible and Jason played perfect GTO.
Jason's gonna play literally perfect against him. Every bluff that Phil had, he picked it off.
Correct.
So he's obviously outclassed in that format. Yes, there's going to be times where he picks up aces against Kuhn's kings and sacks him, or Jason's going to be winning X amount of the hands, but Phil wins a few more big ones. But my point for saying that is I was winning heads up by winning bigger hands and whatnot, but I'm obviously outclassed here because these people are playing way better than I am. Their betting frequencies, their sizings. I have fucking 0 donks most of the time, and this guy's donking at like 30-something%. And do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I realize how outclassed I am here, but I'm still able to win. But in the long run, if I play 20,000 hands with that person, I'm going to be in a deficit.
Yeah. No,
I guess that's why we play poker, though.
You know, that's how Jason got invited to Phil's game after he beat Phil. They wanted to troll Phil, so they invited Jason to come play with them, and he ends up he plays there a lot. So,
more power to him.
I talked to Brian Rast, and Brian Rast used to stake Jason Kuhn back in the day, and when Brian Rast was like the best no limit hold'em player from like 2014 to like 2018, 2019, probably in the world in the big mixes and all the hold'em, he said Jason like studied all the solvers, and like people, you can't just like play solvers. You have to know how to apply solvers, right? And if you don't know how to apply it, it's just like anything else that you do, the stock market or whatever you're doing. You have to know how to apply the information that's given to you. Where 99% of the people, probably 90% of the people that study solvers don't know how to apply to what they're doing. And he told me that what Jason had learned from like 2019 to like 2022, he was just blown away by it. And So I know how good Jason is when Brian Rass tells me that, and I know what a good guy he is. And in poker, the only thing that matters is who the good people are and who the scumbags are. Sean Perry is obviously a scumbag. I get along with him. I've met him a couple times. I have nothing bad to say, but it's pretty obvious. Him and this guy, Mickey, they're like making up these things so people like watch their stream like they're fighting and all the bullshit. And it's all bull. His whole fucking bringing a $2 million in a suitcase to Circa to bet on a game when he knows what the max he can bet on a game. It's just like he's trying to show off. Like,
yeah, it's clickbaity.
Dude, he's doing shit for clickbait and like to get touts, and it's like he's just scummy shit, dude. It's like, and the thing is,
that's the name of the game, unfortunately.
No, it's not. The good people in poker are, everybody knows who they are, dude, and everybody knows who the scumbags are. It's like the people who only care about themselves. Everybody knows who they are. It's like, like I get along good with Doug, right? I asked him to watch my documentary and give a review. You know how he always watches a stream and gives a review of something? And of course he doesn't even enter. He doesn't answer me, doesn't do nothing, because Doug cares about Doug, and that's it. Again, I get along with him. I don't need to say anything bad, but like when Phil Galfond calls him out, and Phil Galfond's the nicest guy in the world, you don't really need to know anything else, right? So, I get along with Doug, but Doug cared about anybody else but Doug, I would, it would go a long ways. In poker world, you got to care about other people. You got to care about other people. You got in the poker world small, and you could be a scumbag or you could be a good person, and you could care about people, and you could treat people the way you want to be treated, or you could be self-centered, or you could, people say whatever they want about Phil because he always name drops and talks about all the billionaires or whatever he hangs out with, whatever, but Phil's got a heart of gold, you know what I'm saying? Phil cares about other people. Daniel cares about other people.
I've heard so many people say that that's Phil authentic on, when the cameras are off and whatnot, but I still can't seem to
he can't help himself.
Comprehend that
he can't help
he's
himself.
That cringe in times.
Bro, I do a podcast with him. We do the We Win podcast, right? After we're done, I can't tell you how many times I've said to my producer, Danny over here, I'm like, cringe, you know what I'm saying? Like how does Phil just say that? It's so cringy,
Yeah, no
but
shit.
that doesn't, he just can't help himself.
I was watching a Jonathan Little podcast with him that was years ago, and, he started rapping a song for, a couple seconds, and it was funny, but then he goes on to sing the whole fucking riff of it for 30 seconds, and my stomach is literally fucking turning.
Oh, hell, that's the worst thing Phil ever
did. How do you
did.
have zero self-awareness?
Dude, he has zero self-awareness. Zero. And the thing about it is Phil is so worried about what other people think about him that it's like insecurity. Like, listen, he's been that way for years. He's been to therapy. He's a good guy. He can't help himself. I mean, there's I'll never say anything bad about Phil. Is he cringe a lot of times? Sure. Even Alan Bossa was on, right? On the We Win podcast yesterday, right? We were talking about all the college hoops that are coming up, and I told he doesn't really know Phil well, and I'm like, he's a good guy, but he'll name drop, or he'll talk about money and all this stuff, and he started name dropping, talking, and then Alan goes, you sure like to name drop, don't you? And it was funny as hell because it was coming out.
Yeah, called his ass out.
But it's listen, it's just the way he is. Some people, you could be like Phil and name drop and have a good heart, or you could be like Kanye West and fucking put out nasty swastikas every time and blame everything that's wrong with the world on the Jews.
That guy's fucking wild.
I mean, I'm all for free speech, but come on, man. This guy's got 26 million followers, and he's spewing that fucking garbage. Him and Dan Blitzerian, how many times Dan Blitzerian said it's all the Jews' fault. Fuck Israel. I hope they all die. He put that out yesterday. And I just tweet back, TikTok, motherfucker. TikTok, because that motherfucker's going to have to look over his shoulder for the rest of his fucking life.
Yeah, that's another cringe fucking guy. Whatever.
Yeah,
Get a lot of shit for clicks and stuff, but
listen,
to each their own.
No, he's completely brainwashed by anti-Jewish shit that's not even real. It's like he found the 0.1% of the Talmud that the farthest Orthodox Jews think, and he applied that to every Jew. It's kind of like what people do about the Muslims, right? They apply the crazy far extremist and want to say,
which obviously
it's all the Muslims' fault, right? Which it's not, Now, is there a lot of parts of their religion that is kind of sick, like 50-year-old guys forced to marry 9-year-olds?
9-year-old girls,
that's
obviously.
it's pretty sad, but that doesn't mean that all Muslims believe that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the fringe, right? So, you're not going to get away with saying the hate and the sickness that Kanye spews and the stuff that Dan Blitzerian spews about Jews in Israel. And
I'm 34 years old. I've never seen anything like this in my life. It was always like there's certain words you don't say about certain, people.
That's
obviously anti-Semitism was a part of it, and now if
look
you're not anti-Semitic, you're not cool.
Look at Justin Bonomo, right? He's out of his fucking mind, right?
Don't even mention that fucking dude's name.
When you're,
I'd say he could go suck a dick, but he would love it.
Yeah, when you go and you say, he would love it. When you go and you say, the Jews are oppressed, right? Or they're the oppressor. That's literally like brainwashing from like your professor or in high school or whatever fringe you're in, right? And like I even said to Dan Blitzerian because we were friends and I have his number and we were texting off Twitter and talking, and I'm like, dude, you're spewing shit that's not real. I'm like, think about I said. You're a fucking conservative, right? You hate the left. You fucking despise the Dems, right? You think
that's what shocked me, that he has this stance.
Well, that's the thing. When the far left and the far right align, it's sick and it's wrong. And I said to him, you're aligning yourself with the far left that you despise. He even went and said, I agree with you, Justin. Good job. I'm proud of you, right? And he's like, they couldn't be farther apart politically, right?
Yeah, no shit.
So I said it, when you align with the sick people, like I'll say the 15% on the far right, 15% on the far left, they're just gone down a rabbit hole. Like no matter what the left does, it's correct. No matter what Trump does, it's wrong. And there's no help for them, right? And I've said this for 4 or 5 years. So there's 35% on each side. There's the poison and the fruit, and you have to have debates with people and find half of the 35% on my side is going to probably be wrong, and half that I believe is wrong on the other side is probably going to be right. You just got to find it, but you have to find common ground, and you have to have debates. Right now, I used to ask my dad, how could there be a Holocaust? And my dad told me the media, New York Times, right, was the liberal. He said they were pushing the pro-Nazi, pro-Hitler shit, right? Well, now we fast forward to 2023, 24, October 7th. What are they pushing on TikTok and all social media? All the pro-Hamas, anti-Israel. It's all the Jews' fault. There's only 15 million Jews. There's only 15 million Jews in the world out of 8.6 billion people. Like, if you got rid of every Jew, what's that going to change? What are we, 2% of the population? 1.5%?
Yeah, not much, exactly.
So think about how insane that is, right?
But imagine we were applying the hate that the Jews are getting right now to any other group of people and what would happen to us.
Exactly. You're right. You hit it right on the nose.
The double standard's a fucking joke.
It's insane, And, nobody's saying things about now that Assad has fallen in Syria, that they're murdering hundreds of thousands of Christians, right? And little kids. Nobody says anything. No Jews, no news. That's the old saying, right? Oh, the Jews, they killed 330 people in Gaza yesterday. We don't know if that's true. That's what Hamas is saying. Just remember, if the Jews put down their weapons, there'll be no Israel. If Hamas put down their weapons, there'll be peace. There's not. That's it.
Who said that? Ben Shapiro?
Yeah, and he's right.
100% a fact.
I mean, they've said it over and over. We will not quit until there is no Israel. They've said it. What do you want? What do you want to say? And then you got people like Dan Bilzerian spewing, wanting all the Jews to die and the end of Israel. Think about that. Like his lawyer is my lawyer, right? Well, his ex-lawyer. She refuses to talk to him anymore, right? He's gone off the deep end,
I've got to tell you something right there.
He not only did he fight after she said, I'm from Israel, I have dual citizenship, I've been your lawyer for X, Y, and Z, right? He didn't give a fuck. Now he has a Muslim lawyer. It's pretty
Sounds
crazy.
about right.
He'll
regret all that when he stands before God one day.
But all I know is imagine your whole life, the rest of your life, wherever you go, you're going to have to look over your shoulder because he spewed that hate about Israel and the Jewish people to 26 million, 30 million people, which reaches what? Now they have one thing I noticed about X, they've cut down his reach. So like his reach gets to 2.4 million now, where he has that many followers, which should reach about 20 million. So
right,
they've cut
that's
down
one
his
positive
reach.
out of it, I guess.
But on TikTok and Instagram, I don't know if they have or not, but like Elon said, freedom of speech does not equal freedom of reach. Like he said, if somebody says something anti-Semitic and only 14 people see it, who gives a fuck? You let him. They let him say it. So people will pull it up. How could somebody say this on your site? And they pulled up some really disgusting anti-Semitic, anti-Jew tweet. But if you look at it, if the guy doesn't post it, only 14 people saw it.
Who gives two fucks?
Correct. But we do care when Kanye's out there. Have you seen what he's been spewing the last 3 days? He's out of his mind.
No, I don't. I don't have Twitter or TikTok.
He went on an X fucking Twitter rant yesterday that was insane. Then he's like, what do you think is the most insane thing I ever think? He just kept blaming the Jews. It's all the Jews. It's all the Jews' fault.
He's got some deep-rooted hate, which I'm sure he did probably get fucked over by.
I'm sure he did, and I'm sure they were Jewish people. But people don't realize, like the scummy people that have fucked him over, those are they're liberal Jews. The liberal Jews don't even care about Israel. They're not. You think Chuck Schumer gives a fuck about Israel? Guy probably never been to a shul in his whole life. High holidays, I guarantee he doesn't even go. They don't. Bernie Sanders, all he is wants to see the destruction. He's like, I'm Jewish and I want to see the destruction.
Bernie Sanders is a Jew?
Yeah. And he comes out anti-Jewish sentiment every day.
Go figure.
Yeah, they're crazy. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. This has been a 3-hour podcast. I can't believe we did it for this long. But I'm going to get out of here and watch some college basketball tomorrow. And
sounds good.
If you want to see some of the,
I'll holler at you next
some
week
of the
about
top picks that were given out by Alan Boston on our We Win podcast yesterday. It was a really great conversation with him. If anybody out there is interested in betting on the college basketball. All right, my man. Take care.
Take care, man.
Later. All right, guys. That was a really good podcast. A lot of fun talking. We got a lot in. We talked a lot of poker. Yeah, Russia first. Yeah, the war. There won't be a war soon. Yeah. I know you're gonna be mad when there's no war. You'll be so mad. You'll probably be banging shit. I want war. See you guys. I'm going to Reno next week. We'll be back a week. Let's see. Today's Wednesday, so in 9 days for the next podcast. Take care, Brainwash Barry. Later.
The Mouthpiece.